What's going on, everybody? So from the last few videos that I've put out with Bassem Youssef versus Piers Morgan and MC Abdul, all these different videos, I'm getting a lot of love from my people in Egypt, so I greatly appreciate the love and support that you give me, guys, from Egypt. And I am also throwing back the love and support from Ireland, so I absolutely love the Egyptian people, guys. All the support that I'm getting from all the Muslim countries is beautiful, guys. Obviously I support you. Much love to the people from those countries as well. But today we got a bit more of a light-hearted video, guys. 101 facts about Egypt, because I don't know much about Egypt, guys. I'm gonna be honest. You know, obviously living in Ireland, I don't really know too much about different countries. I've traveled around Europe. You know, I was born in the Middle East. Like I said, I was born in Abu Dhabi, but the United Arab Emirates. But apart from that, guys, I haven't traveled too much. I've traveled to America as well, but apart from that, I haven't traveled a whole bunch to like different countries in Africa, like Egypt. So this one should be pretty informative and hopefully very, very entertaining and informative, like I said. So make sure to drop a comment down below. Tell me where you guys are viewing from. I love to see the support, and let's get it, guys.
Greetings or Maharban, mother factors, and welcome to 101 Facts. My name is Sam, and today we're hopping on
Maharban, that's hello in Egypt.
This stock footage plane once again to talk about one of the most unique places on Earth. No, not this random stock footage building. We're talking Egypt, a land dripping in history, tasty food, and belly dancing. But which pharaoh ruled for 94 years? Why is spilling coffee a good thing? And do they all walk like the song by the Bangles? Because surely it's so impractical they never get anything done. 2 out of 3 of those questions are going to be answered. So, let's visit the land of pyramids, oases, sphinxes, and dry desert as we go through 101 facts about Egypt. Number 1. Egypt, or the Arab Republic of Egypt, if we want to be all formal about it, is a transcontinental country that occupies both Northeast Africa and Southwest Asia. Gets around, this guy. Number 2. Egypt borders Libya to the west, Sudan to the south, the Red Sea to the east, and Israel and the Gaza Strip to the northeast via the Sinai Peninsula, as well as the Mediterranean Sea to the north. Across the Red Sea, there's also Saudi Arabia. Number 3. Egypt is, let's see here, about 1,010,408 square kilometers in size.
That's a big country, guys. Big country. Obviously the landmass where it's located as well. I knew it was in Africa, but I didn't know that it was so close to the UAE, you know, Saudi Arabia as well. So that's cool, guys. Very cool.
Now I know that's hard to picture, so it's around 3 times the size of the state of New Mexico, or just under 3 Germanys. Number 4.
Big.
Egypt is the most populated country in the Middle East and the 3rd most populated country in Africa, with one.
Yeah, I knew that yesterday, and the reason I wanted to do this video is because my brother said that Egypt is one of the most populated countries in the Middle East. So
100 million people inhabiting the country. Around 95% of all Egyptians live along the banks of the Nile and the Nile Delta and the Suez Canal. Remember that?
Ah, the Nile Delta. Okay, that's really cool, guys. I didn't know that. That's really cool. 95% of people live along the Nile. Wow.
You know the thing that got blocked up by Big Boat? Number 5. The capital city of Egypt is Cairo, and it just so happens to be the largest city in the country too, as well as the largest metropolitan area in the Arab world, though not the largest in Africa, as it's beaten by Lagos in Nigeria. Damn it, Lagos. Number 6. The official language of Egypt is Arabic. That's it, that's the fact. Nah, I'm just kidding. You must be new here. Specifically, around 2/3 of Egyptians speak Egyptian Arabic. Makes sense, doesn't it? While just under 1/3 speak Sadi Arabic. And others speak a mixture of Eastern Egyptian Badawi Arabic, Sudanese Arabic, and a few other smaller languages. Number 7.
So when I was growing up, when I was born in Abu Dhabi, I learned Arabic. I think it was, he said Adi Arabic. I think I learned that one for about 6 or 7 years of my life. And our teacher was like the nicest teacher. Oh my God. Because it was at an international school, because my dad was obviously a teacher. But whenever I was like learning Arabic, I remember as a kid so clearly, I would be like speaking Wahid, and I would say all the different, I can say 1 to 10, if I can remember it now, Wahid, Sahid, some words like that. I remember some words very, very slightly. If I looked at it again, I'd remember it, but I remember like I would say that the first 1 to 10, and then I would get like a golden star. So I would just try and learn all the, instead of learning a lot of different phrases and words, I would just learn numbers, guys. I don't know why. Maybe I felt like it was useful to do that at the time or something, or I was kind of into numbers as a kid as well. But yeah, absolutely class, guys. Arabic. I want to actually learn some more Arabic. That'd be kind of cool.
Egypt is one of the oldest civilizations in history, dating back to between the 6th and 4th millennia BCE, around the time your mum was born. Do you know, I take that back, sorry to you and your mama. As Egypt is considered a cradle of civilization, Egypt was one of the first leaders in the development of a number of aspects of life, including farming, literature, religion, pyramids, I'm kidding, although it was, and governance. Number 8. So let's delve a little bit deeper into that. There's evidence of rock carvings and culture changes as early as 10,000 BCE, but by 6000 BCE, Neolithic culture was fully established in the Nile Valley. Number 9. Now, we're not going to talk about ancient Egypt all that much, because we've done a whole separate video about that, which you should definitely watch, but after this, yeah? But between 3000 and 0 BCE, Egypt and Egyptian culture flourished. Number 10. During this time, Egypt was ruled by several dynasties because they were repeatedly conquered, so we'll make it quick. In the 7th century BC, the Assyrians conquered Egypt, but eventually this broke down when the empire fell later that same century. Number 11. Then Egypt was independent for a bit, but the bloody Persian Empire came along, and Egypt found themselves under Persian rule from the 6th century until the 4th century. Number 12.
So they were ruled by the Persians and the Syrians.
What happened in the 4th century? I hear you scream from behind your screens. Well, Alexander the Great and the ancient Greek kingdom came along. When Alexander the, I'm going to say arrogantly named, died, the Greek general Ptolemy made himself pharaoh, and his lineage ruled Egypt until the 1st century BC. Number 13.
Cool.
The Ptolemaic kingdom came to an end when Queen Cleopatra VII ended her life following the murder of her Roman lover Mark Antony, and the country was annexed by Caesar Augustus as part of the Roman Empire. Seriously, Egypt appears in like all your favourite history stories. Number 14. Cleopatra and Antony were buried together in a tomb, which is nice and romantic, but nobody actually knows where, which is odd considering how important they were. They're apparently somewhere near Alexandria, in case you wanted to fire up that metal detector, and that's because I'm assuming they have jewellery, by the way, not metal skeletons like Wolverine. Number 15. History is nothing without a bit of digging up, and as recently as this year, historians have found 110 Egyptian tombs on the Delta riverbed of the Nile. We'll get to the river later on, Nile fans, don't worry. These bodies in the Kum El Kulgan archaeological site are from as far back as 3300 BC. Some are slightly more fresh and from 1570 BC.
Yeah, they're one of the oldest civilizations in the world, guys, for those who don't know.
Number 16.
You should know that. Everybody knows that it's one of the oldest civilizations in the world, guys. Everybody should know that by now, okay?
These bodies are jolly interesting as they're from a bit of Egyptian history that isn't really known about. Some of them were buried with special amulets, and there was also a baby buried in a jar, which has somewhat terrifyingly puzzled historians, so let's hope they haven't unleashed a curse, hey? Number 17. But what came after Queen Cleopatra? Well, Caesar Augustus, or Octavius to use his birth name, made Egypt the Roman Empire after faith in Cleopatra's children and the royal family ceased, and civil wars, I'm going to be honest, put the country into a bit of a mess. Number 18. The annexation also introduced Christianity to Egypt during the 1st century BC, with Saint Mark the Evangelist bringing over the newly translated New Testament, founding the Church of Alexandria. Number 19. In the 3rd century, during the reign of Diocletian, Egypt came out of the Roman Empire and entered the Byzantine Empire. Empire? What am I doing? Empire. The Byzantines weren't big fans of Christians, to say the least, and a lot of Egyptian Christians were persecuted as a result. Number 22. Following the Byzantine Empire in the 7th century, the Islamic Empire conquered Egypt, introducing Muslim Arabs and Sunni Islam to the country. During this time, the Amir ibn al-As Mosque was built, which still stands to this day actually in Cairo, and is the oldest mosque in Africa. Number 21. This mosque was not only a place of worship, but was also home to the Egyptian army during the Battle of Heliopolis, which saw Alexandria reclaimed by the Byzantine Empire. The Islamic Empire took it back a year later though, and after that the Byzantines essentially gave up trying to conquer Alexandria and the rest of Egypt. Number 2200. Once the Islam Empire had regained control of the country, they founded Fustat as the capital of Egypt, and I know what you're thinking. We told you the capital is Cairo, and it is. But Fustat held that honour until the 12th century, when it was burned down during the Crusades, and is now a part of Old Cairo. Number 23. Skipping forward a few centuries and gracefully glossing over a couple of revolutions, the Islamic Empire maintained control and became linked with India, Malaya and the East Indies. Then along came the plague in the 14th century and wiped out 40% of the Egyptian population.
Whoa.
Number 24. Shortly after, Egypt found its way into a new empire, the Ottoman one. Though it wasn't all plain sailing, as the remaining 60% of the population was still largely influenced by the Mamluks, an Egyptian militia who helped rule Egypt for centuries. Number 25. Okay, let's skip ahead to 1798, shall we say, with Napoleon Bonaparte. The French invaded Egypt because they hadn't already invaded enough throughout their history, and later had their butts kicked by the British. Gutted. Number 26. When it came to giving Egypt back to, well, Egypt, it created a power struggle between the Ottoman Empire, the Mamluks, and the now Albanian mercenaries who were also working for the Ottomans. This ended up putting Egypt in control of the Muhammad Ali dynasty, and not that Muhammad Ali. Number 27.
Wow.
Muhammad Ali Pasha, to give him his full name, went from commander of the Albanian mercenaries to viceroy of Egypt, and ordered the massacre of the Mamluks. During his reign, he invaded Syria, northern Sudan, and parts of Arabia and Anatolia, but ended up having to give them back to the Ottomans. Number 28. The
Muhammad Ali had to give all the empires back after he tried to take them away from them. Wow.
Muhammad Ali dynasty saw the modernisation of Egypt, with industry, irrigation and transport being brought forward, and vastly expanded cotton agriculture. He also modernised the Egyptian military and introduced peasant conscription. Number 29. In 1869, the French, with financial cover from the European banks, created the Suez Canal. You know, the one blocked by a boat. This made a direct connection between the Mediterranean and Red Seas and dramatically shortened a lot of naval journeys, as it basically created a shortcut that removed the need to sail around the entirety of Africa on journeys between countries on the Indian Ocean and Western European countries.
Yes, very, very important. One of the most important trade routes. I think it's the biggest trade route in the world.
Specifically France and Britain. That's why when it was clogged up with a big boat, it was a huge issue. Yeah. I'm not going to stop going on about it. Number 30. In 1899, Egypt and the UK signed the Anglo-Egyptian Condominium Agreement, which put Sudan into the control of Egypt and Britain, although realistically it was almost solely controlled by the UK. Classic us. Number 31. Right, we've made it to World War I. When it started, Egypt, under the control of the Ottomans, sided with the Central Powers Germany, Austria-Hungary and Bulgaria. The Brits on the opposing side of the war were a bit annoyed about this and removed Khedive Abbas II, the ruler of Egypt at the time, and replaced him with Hussein Kamel, his brother.
Look at that for a mustache. Whoa.
Number 32. Kamel was substantially more pro-British. No surprise there, really, is it? And after declaring independence from the Ottomans, he put Egypt under the protectorate of the UK and became the Sultan. After the war, Egypt had a revolution against the British rule, and Egypt was declared nominally independent in 1922.
Cool.
Number 33. Despite their independence, the British military still occupied Egypt and had a lot of influence, especially over that Suez Canal. This came particularly handy during the Second World War, as the British military in Egypt were instantly able to battle the German and Italian armies in North Africa.
Wow.
Yeah,
because during the war they were fighting in North Africa. My great-grand uncle fought in the Battle of the Bulge, France, and also in North Africa.
34. In 1951, Egypt withdrew from the agreement with Britain and ordered them to leave the Suez Canal. To cut a very long story short, it ended up being nationalised in 1956, and the UN now sorted out and oversee issues.
Cool.
Number 35. In 1958, Egypt and Syria created a union called the United Arab Republic, which lasted a total of 3 years because Syria left the union. It also loosely included North Yemen and the Gaza Strip in Israel. Number 36. Skipping ahead to the 2000s now, and Egypt wasn't having the best time, with President Mubarak creating various human rights issues that we won't go into because it's bleak, but you can look it up if you so desire. Number 37. This culminated in the Egyptian Revolution in 2011, where Mubarak resigned and fled after huge protests against him. The country returned to being led by the military until that parliament was dissolved and a parliament election was held to find a new government.
Nice.
Number 38. They elected President Morsi, who, just 2 years later, was also removed from office by the military because the public were not happy with the Muslim Brotherhood government he enforced. Number 39. Since then, President El-Sisi has been the leader of Egypt, winning every election pretty easily. He's since given more power to himself, or the role of the president I should say, and the military, if that's even possible, and has made a lot of other constitutional changes. You know, president's got a president. Right, history over. Let's have some fun facts now. Go. Number 40. Egypt is
long, vast history. Like I said, they have one of the oldest, not even civilizations, one of the oldest, living people in the world, because all of the world, if you guys ever go into history, the whole humans from being Homo sapiens, whatever, and then turning into humans, we all originated in East Africa, Ethiopia, Egypt, around there. So very interesting.
30th largest country in the world, and despite that size, the 100 million people who inhabit it only use between 5 to 6% of the country's land.
Whoa.
As the majority of the population live along the Nile Valley. Anyone who doesn't is just in denial. I suppose they're not, though, are they? Because anyway.
Like that one.
Number 41. As I mentioned earlier, the capital city of Egypt is Cairo. The name Cairo can be translated into English to mean the one who won, as in one number, who won as in victory.
Nice.
The city is sometimes also referred to as Mother of the World or al-Danya. The meaning of life. Cairo is home to the world's second oldest place of higher education, the Al-Azhar University. Beaten by just over 100 years by the University of Al-Qarawiyyin in Morocco. But hey, you can't win everything. It was given full university status all the way back in 1961. Although I should say that's almost 1,000 years after it was founded, so... Number 43.
Wow.
Cairo has quite a few sister cities around the world, including Istanbul in Turkey, Beijing in China, and Tokyo in Japan. Pretty good list. Number 44. Alexandria is the second largest city in Egypt and home to over 5 million people. The name Alexandria comes from the city's founder, Alexander the Great, except spelled wrong apparently, who wanted to build a Greek city on the coast of Egypt during his conquest of the Achaemenid Empire, and then humbly named it after himself. I mean, are we surprised he called himself Alexander the Great? Number 45. It was formerly the capital of Egypt because of its trade links into the Mediterranean Sea with the Greek and Roman empires. It's also been a hub for various religions over the centuries, including Egyptian Christianity, Judaism towards the northeast of the city, and Sunni Islam. Number 46. In fact, when it was conquered by the Romans, they erected Pompey's Pillar. A Roman victory column used to boast that they won, basically. It's one of the few ancient monuments still standing in Alexandria due to the destruction caused by many wars and battles over the centuries, as well as land sinkage. Number 47. Speaking of super old stuff, the pyramids. They're down in Giza, and I don't mean Danny Dyer by that, and they look incredibly cool and are one of the 7 wonders of the world because no one's sure how they were made, and they're also massive tombs. These tombs made Giza basically the necropolis of Egypt's pharaohs back in the old BC days. Number 48. The oldest and largest of these pyramids is accurately named the Great Pyramid of Giza. Standing at around 454 feet tall, or roughly 76 ms, it's believed to house the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu and was built in the 26th century BC.
They're absolutely massive. Look at the size of that thing. Wow.
It old, it big. Number 49.
Unbelievable.
The Great Pyramid was also the tallest man-made structure for over 3,800 years before being beaten by St Paul's Cathedral in 1221, because us Brits can't let anyone have nice things. The tallest structure in the world, by the way, now is the Burj Khalifa, which is 6 times taller than the Great P. Number 50. Alongside the pyramids is the Great Sphinx of Giza. It's based on the mythological creature of a sphinx, which usually has the body of a lion, the wings of a falcon, and the head of either a human or a sheep.
Yeah, I learned about that back in school.
In this case, it's believed to be the head of the pharaoh Khafre, son of Khufu. Number 51. Dive into
Wow, these are some amazing facts that I've never known about. You know, Egypt, long history with so much culture and just everything. It's like a melting pot of just everything in Africa, you know, and it's unbelievable. 100 million people there as well. So huge population, guys. Like, a lot of people sleep on places like Egypt, you know, Africa.
To have had a beard.
You know, when it comes to like modern day civilization, they're some of the pioneers in that.
Which was added later and has since fallen or been taken off, and over time its nose has also dropped. But unlike a child, we can't just put it back with our thumbs. It's also thought to have been painted bright colours, which have since faded in the harsh desert climate and sunlight. Number 52. Of course, a significant amount of Egypt is covered by desert land, and no, we're not talking about the fancy world of sweet treats, we're talking about sand. Desert, not dessert. The main one is the Western Desert, which is part of the Sahara.
Yo.
Number 53. The Guitarra Depression in the Western Desert is pretty cool because it's not only double the size of Lebanon, which is crazy for a part of a desert, but it also sits at an average of 60 metres below sea level, like a big old bowl of sand. Number 54. Amongst all that sand, though, there are some oases. I don't mean the Britpop band of the 90s. One of the most popular of these is the Siwa Oasis, which has 300 freshwater springs and is well known for their growing of olives and dates. They even have their own language, although they can speak Egyptian Arabic. Number 50.
That's fire. So there is a lot of oasis. You know, I used to when I was living abroad, guys, I used to look at the mirages and used to think, oh, there's water over there. I used to be so thirsty all the time. Now in Ireland, we have water falling out the sky every 10 minutes.
5. The Siwa Oasis has been inhabited for at least 12,000 years and has some unique elements to their culture. Siwans are more isolated than most cultures, with a tarmac road to the Nile cities being non-existent until the 1980s, despite Siwa being a popular trade stop and pilgrim stop between Cairo and Mecca. Number 56. The Karga Oasis is the largest of the Egyptian oases and is also the most modernised. A lot of the old architecture is gone and has been replaced with more modern buildings, though it does still have the Temple of Kebis, which once celebrated a mixture of beliefs, including the Egyptian deity Amun. Number 57. As I'm sure you know, the River Nile, which stretches the length of Egypt and beyond, is the longest river on Earth. In fact, it's so long that when the ancient Egyptians settled along the Nile, they never reached its source.
Huh.
Number 58.
Jeez.
The river's source, that's S-O-U-R-C-E, not, tomato sauce, is still disputed to this day, but the primary source of the Nile is widely accepted to be Lake Victoria, although it has smaller feeder rivers flowing into the lake. These feeders start in Tanzania, Burundi, and Rwanda. Number 59.
They always have that up for debate. I remember reading about that in school as well.
So, just how long is it? Not the first time I've been asked that question. But in 2010, an exploration party found a new source of the Nile in the Nyungwe forest and measured the whole river as 6,758 kilometres, or 3,692,896 fans. Number 60.
That is long.
The Nile flows through several African countries, which isn't really surprising, is it? I just told you it started in other countries. Specifically, though, it flows through Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, South Sudan, the Republic of Sudan, and it meets the Mediterranean Sea at its mouth in Egypt.
Wow.
Number 61. The Nile is the main water source in Egypt, as rain is uncommon, so that's why Toto wanted to bless the rains down in Africa. Anyway, when it comes to agriculture, Egypt is almost solely reliant on irrigation systems, regulated by the Aswan Dam. Number 62. The Aswan Dam is actually one of the world's largest artificial water reservoirs.
Wow.
Before it was built in the 1960s, the Nile was prone to regular flooding. With rising water levels as a result of climate change, even with the dam, flooding can still create challenges for the nation. Number 63. When the dam was constructed, around 120,000 people from Egypt and Sudan had to relocate. The Egyptian government built and provided more modern houses with electricity and plumbing, with a number of schools and hospitals and other services. Nintendo 64. The state religion in Egypt is Islam, and the country is home to around 5% of the entire world's population of Muslims. In fact, they have the largest Muslim population in the Arab world, and the 6th largest in the whole planet. Number 65. Most Egyptians are practicing Sunni Muslims, and the total percentage of the population practicing any type of Islam is between 85 to 90%. The other 10 to 15% is made up of Christians, and Egypt actually has the largest Christian population in the Arab world and North Africa.
Wow.
Number 66. Education is compulsory in Egypt between the ages of 6 and 15, although the enforcement of this is unclear. Public university education is also free in Egypt, which makes me endlessly jealous of my mountain of debt.
Yeah, so it's free in Ireland as well. So shout out to Egypt and Ireland. We have free education here in Ireland.
Number 67.
Amazing.
What's interesting, though, is that even in ancient times, Egyptian hieroglyphics were rarely used. For the most part, they used a script called hieratic, and reserved these super cool looking but time-intensive hieroglyphics for rituals and official inscriptions.
Yep.
Number 68. Egyptians have a few interesting superstitions that they believe bring them good luck.
Okay.
One such superstition is to bury a weasel underneath the front step of your house. This is supposedly to allow them to gain a lot of money and have a better life,
Hey,
although
that's
I
class.
don't really know how. Number 69. Bury a weasel. Another one of these superstitions is, if you spill your coffee, good things will happen to you, which is good because I literally spilled some on myself today. You should also, apparently, always step into a house with your right foot first, as it can bring good luck, happiness and prosperity over the weasel. Number 70. There are also some bad superstitions though. One of the biggest is being wary of black crows. If one stands on the roof of a house, people believe that something bad will happen to that house. Most likely, a member of the household will die.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
keep it light, guys. Number 71. Other bad omens from Egypt include having a twitching eye, as this means you'll be getting bad news. Seeing a turned over or upside down slipper is connected to the belief it can bring Satan inside the home, and from what I hear about the guy, you don't want him around.
Nope.
Number 72.
Don't want him
The
around.
national animal of Egypt is the steppe eagle. It's considered endangered, and although Egypt has claimed it as their national animal, it also features on the flag of Kazakhstan.
Yeah. The eagle is like, that's always a big symbol for a lot of countries, you know, the hawk, the eagle. I love that. I love an eagle and a hawk. They're cool animal.
Number 73. Egypt holds the record for the longest documented reign in history. Pharaoh Pepi II owns that title. That doesn't sound like a real name, but apparently it is. Reigning over the country for a whopping 94 years after ascending to the throne at the age of 6.
Jeez.
Number 74.
That's
Egypt's main exports are fruits, vegetables, cotton, rice, corn and wheat. Out of all those, Egypt is probably the most famous for their Egyptian rice. I'm kidding, Egyptian cotton.
Oh yeah.
Number 70.
The cotton is the best in the world.
5. Egypt's agriculture industry has been victim to desertification. The country loses almost 120 square kilometres of farmland every year and has since 2009. The total farmland of Egypt is around 31,000 square kilometres, so they lose around 0.4% of land a year to desert.
Yeah.
Number 76.
Desertification, because it's so hot, guys, it's hard to irrigate the land, you know. It's kind of like that in Ireland too. We have a lot of rain, so it never gets that bad, but it can still get quite bad sometimes, guys, with the droughts during the summers in Ireland. Even though a lot of people say no, it rains, but the rain, it has to be for long periods of time, so.
The Egyptians were the first people to establish the 365-day solar year calendar. They also used the lunar calendar too, which fell 10 or 11 days short of the solar year, so every few years they added an extra 13th month called Thoth to balance it out.
Thoth.
Number 77. This ended up forming the Egyptian civil calendar, which had 365 days split into 12 months of 30 days, and then just an extra 5 chucked in at the end for good measure. The idea of a leap day wasn't included until roughly 46 BCE through suggestions from Julius Caesar. As we know, this is the rough basis of our calendars today.
Yep.
Number 78. A new year was noted by the heliacal rising of the star Sirius, which means it's extremely bright on the horizon. This astrological site also marked the start of the Nile's annual flood of Cairo, which helped them prepare. Number 79. Speaking of
So when they see the light, they know what to prepare for floods. Cool.
clever, Egypt is responsible for the world's oldest book of mathematics.
Whoa.
Written in 1650 BC, it's called The Entrance into the Knowledge of All Existing Things and All Obscure Secrets.
Wow, 1506. Geez, that's really old. 1556. That is so old, and they knew about mathematics back then. Wow, very smart.
Bit long, why can't we just call it Maths 1 or Business Secret of the Pharaohs?
Shit.
Number 80. In fact, the Egyptians were also the first people to write at all, making papyrus paper out of reeds from the River Nile and also inventing the pen to write with and written words to actually write.
Cool.
Number 81. Egypt Imhotep is also considered to be the first ever engineer, architect and physician in documented history. He designed the Pyramid of Djoser and is suggested to have invented the use of columns in architecture. Think that, Greece. Number 82. Egypt even has a subject named after it, Egyptology. Unsurprisingly, it's the study of, ancient Egypt, and it's a major scientific area of study within the country. It's still going too. Remember what I said about those 110 tombs earlier? That was pretty recent. Number 83.
Because it's such a long history. One of the longest histories in the world.
Back in 1799, Egyptologists discovered the Rosetta Stone, an inscribed stele with 3 different translations of a decree issued in Memphis, Egypt in the year 196 BC. This stone, written in hieroglyphics, Demotic Egyptian script and Greek script, allowed researchers to translate this, and gain the ability to translate and understand other ancient Egyptian texts.
Wow.
Number 84. Of course, we can't talk about discoveries in Egypt without mentioning the tomb of Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
Discovered in 1922, it was almost completely intact and had more than 5,000 ancient Egyptian artifacts inside, including his now infamous mask.
Yeah, that mask was insane, guys. That was amazing.
Number 85. The mystery into how King Tut died lives on today. After vigorous testing, it was found his mummy, as in, the mummy of him, not his mum, featured signs of several bone disorders, including scoliosis, as well as intersex DNA, malaria, signs of a cleft palate, possible epilepsy, and a club foot.
Wow.
Number 86. Whilst any of these ailments could have progressed to a lethal point, the best theory comes from the absence of his heart in the body, which is rare among mummies. This sparked the rather brilliant theory that Tut was killed by a hippopotamus who punctured his heart. That's it. That's how I think he died now.
Whoa.
Number 87. Remember I told you that Egypt's capital is Cairo? Well, it is, for now. The government is currently building a new capital 28 miles east of Cairo to help alleviate the congestion in the current capital city.
Yeah, it's one of the most densely populated places in the world.
Number 88.
So yeah, Egypt's one of the most densely populated places in the world, so that's why they're trying to build a new capital, a new kind of place outside of Cairo. And a lot of people from, Europe, we visit Cairo. Very, very nice place to visit. I've yet to visit there, but I should visit there very, very soon, guys. I can't wait, man. It looks like an amazing country. Wow.
There are
I never knew any of these facts.
a few animals that are native to Egypt, including the Egyptian weasel, the pallid gerbil, McKilligan's gerbil, the flower's shrew, and the Nile Delta toad. In ancient times, when Egypt's climate was cooler and wetter, it was home to more diverse wildlife, including giraffes, hippos, elephants, and rhinos. Number 89. Egypt is also thought to be the place of origin for the Egyptian Mao cat, thus the name. It's pretty rare and it's one of the few naturally spotted breeds of domesticated cat. They have a distinct pattern on their foreheads, either in the shape of the letter M or a scarab beetle.
Oh yeah, we have a cat like that with the shape M on its head. I have a cat like that for the last 2 years, and before him, when she died, we had another cat with that M on his forehead. That's so cool. So it originated, my cat is from Egypt. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
They have a distinct pattern on their foreheads, either in the shape of the letter M or a scarab beetle.
Yeah.
Number 90.
Wow.
Wedding rings were also an Egyptian invention. The pharaohs were the first to use rings to symbolise eternity because circles have no beginning or end and mirror the shape of the sun and the moon, which they worshipped.
Cool.
Number 91. All that talk of the moon has gotten me hungry. So let's talk food. There are some incredible native Egyptian dishes, including koshari, fulna damas, and fatir baladi. If you're a carb lover, Egypt's national dish koshari is the way to go, as it's rice and pasta with lentils, garbanzo beans, and fried onions in a tomato sauce.
That's delicious.
Number 92.
I love that.
Fatir baladi is known as Egyptian pizza. Instead of the classic bread-like dough used in traditional pizza, fatir baladi is made with phyllo pastry, which is layers and layers of pastry between layers of butter.
Bro, I gotta go to an Egyptian shop in Galway City, guys, or in town, because I need to get some of that. That looks so tasty.
Number 93.
Oh, come on.
To wash it down, why not have a cup of Egypt's national drink, a lovely cup of tea? If you don't drink tea, there are some other Egyptian drinks like kasab.
Hey, in Ireland, we're massive on tea. It's the biggest drink in the whole country, guys. So obviously, that's what we have in common with Egypt.
Which is sugarcane juice, or salab, which is ground orchid, sesame seeds, coconut.
Yeah, I thought amla. Amla, was that's traditional Egypt too. Amla is like a gooseberry type thing that you use. I think that's Egypt.
Sugar and milk, and is served with chopped pistachios and cinnamon. Number 94.
That's fire.
With deserts aplenty, I bet you think that Egypt would never get snow. Well, think again. In 2013, a cold snap called Alexa hit the Middle East and North Africa and gave Cairo an extremely rare snowfall, the first in 112 years.
Oh my god.
Number 95. In fact, in an average year, Egypt expects around an inch of rain in a year. It's one of the driest places on Earth,
We get that. We get 3 inches of rain sometimes in a day in Ireland.
which isn't that surprising because of the Sahara Desert thing. It's the world's largest hot desert, but Antarctica is actually the largest desert overall.
I know.
Number 96. Around 10,000 years ago, the Sahara was actually a lush green savanna. Because of climate change, it eventually dried up and became a desert. However, it's thought that with the cyclical nature of North Africa's weather, the Sahara could return to grassland in around 15,000 years' time. Number 97. Egypt's flag is made up of 3 bands of colour, red, white and black, with a golden eagle in the middle. The black signifies Egypt's oppression, the red represents the bloody struggle against that oppression, and the white is symbolic of Egypt's bright future.
Yes.
Number
That's the
98.
same as Ireland. We have the green, which symbolizes Ireland, the Republic. White signifies the unity, and then the orange signifies the kind of Northern Ireland. So, wow.
The eagle is the gold eagle of Saladin, named after, well, Saladin, the first Sultan of Egypt. The eagle is also seen on Egypt's coat of arms, as well as Iraq's, Palestine, Yemen and Somaliland's.
Yes.
Number 99. The Egyptians love football. Egypt's Al Ahly is the most successful club in Africa, closely followed by their rival Zamalek SC. In fact, Al Ahly is currently the world's most successful club in terms of international trophies.
Nice.
Number 100. Cinema is also quite a big deal in Egypt, with the country producing more than 3/4 of films for the Middle East. The Cairo International Film Festival is one of 11 festivals with a top-class rating worldwide from the International Federation of Film Producers
That's
Association.
fire.
Number 101. And finally, Egypt is often considered the home of belly dancing. Egyptian belly dancing actually has 2 styles called Raqs Baladi and Raqs Sharqi. The former a more traditional folk style, and the latter considered more classic but with modern and Latin influences. I'm off to grab my skirt and show you all that my hips and tummy don't lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Shakira gets her influences from that.
So that was 101 facts about Egypt. Have you ever been? Are you there now? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, give us a like and
Absolutely fire, guys. Go over to 101 Facts, give them a like. Guys, I love that. That was amazing. Cool culture. Never knew half of those things about Egypt, about the eagle on the flag, about what it signifies, the red and the black. I love that, guys. Absolutely amazing. I love you guys all. Like I said in the beginning, much love from Ireland to Egypt and all the people that have commented on the Bassem Youssef video. So I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.